So 2023 was just crazy for Tesla stock. I mean, it started off falling to almost below $100, and we were buying it crazy at those levels because honestly, it was just a gift to us long-term buy and hold investors. And then it took the rocket ship up almost $300 just a few months later, but has once again trended down and just cannot gain any sustained momentum at all. But it's 2024 now, so let's discuss what I see happening and what's important for Tesla stock in 2024. And yes, we'll talk about the stock price as well, and that's probably where you guys are going to be really mad at me because I don't have it going to $1,000 per share. I'm sorry. Sure, that'd be great to hit that by the end of the year, but I don't think that's going to happen. But our guest analyst might have a completely different take on that since he always disagrees with me. So make sure you stick around to the end to get that take as well. But this channel is about giving you guys the truth without the hype, and that's exactly what we're going to be doing. So make sure you like the video if you like getting the truth without the hype. And if you want information about being financially independent and retiring early, make sure you check out the pinned comment down there. It's to my new channel where that's all we talk about is exactly that. So make sure you check it out. If you're looking to retire early or just get back on track with retirement, or you want to be financially independent or all of the above, that's where you get all that information. It's right there. So there are really three big points that are going to dictate what happens to Tesla stock this year. There's actually one big wild card that we got to discuss too that could absolutely flip everything up on its head. And of course, we'll get to our guest analyst as well. But let's start right there with those 3 points first. So number one is how long does EPS and the margin stay down? Look, whether we like it or not, that is absolutely killing the valuation for Tesla right now. Now, I understand completely why. I agree with what Elon's doing in order to basically long-term benefit Tesla. But in the short term, I can't deny that it's not going to absolutely hurt the stock. So I think it's a great strategy. I love what they're doing. And they're not doing it because, oh my gosh, they're like Legacy Auto and they're losing money like crazy or anything else like that. He's intentionally choosing to do it in order to keep market share up and to continue to sell every single vehicle that goes out. It makes perfect sense. But I also cannot say with a straight face that, oh, that doesn't matter. Tesla should just trade at an even higher multiple now than what you would normally give it, even though EPS and margins and everything else has been falling for the past quarter plus now. So when you look at this, how long does that continue to trend? I agree, it's not going to last forever. It's not all those idiots out there trying to tell us, oh, Tesla's never going to, their margins are just going to continue to trend down. That's stupid. This is intentional. It's on purpose. It's for a very specific reason. And I don't think it's going to last longer. I don't even think it'll last all the way through the end of this year. But the question becomes, how many quarters do we have to endure that EPS and those margins being lower and continue to trend lower, especially with point number two, how much does Cybertruck lose and when will that actually turn to a positive? Now, whoa, before you blast me there, slow down, slow down. I agree, it's going to turn positive. It's just a matter of time. This is part of the ramp process, and we all know that, we all understand that, and that's part of the journey with a car company, especially when you're doing something like this that nobody's done before, nobody's tried before, and it's completely different, you know? Would have been a lot easier to probably do the Model 2 or, you know, something else of that nature, much harder to do what they're trying to do right now. And that means it's going to lose money. But the question becomes, when can they turn that profitability knob over on Cybertruck? So that's question number one. And question number two within this question is, how much is it going to lose in the meantime? Because we don't really have a good idea on that as to how much it's going to lose. And then when it does make money, how much money is it going to make? And is it going to draw to that bottom line? Those are two big unknowns, and answers to those questions may come this year, and that will be huge in terms of the stock price, depending upon what those numbers are. It could be huge up, it could be a huge down as well. And number three, can Elon hold it together through earnings calls? Now, we saw it last quarter. That was a disaster earnings call, and I'm not even talking about just the finance. I actually didn't think the financials were that bad. I actually didn't think from a long-term buy and hold investor's perspective, it was the first time on an earnings Elon was actually honest about limitations. He was honest about timelines, where normally he's like, oh, that's coming in 3 months, 6 months, next year, you know, and then it's like 8 years later and it's still next year. That kind of is what he tends to do. He didn't do that this last time on this earnings call, but it was definitely disorganized. It was unfocused. He was not energetic at all. It was just not a good call. Now, in terms of the calls, I don't care. I care about what's going on underneath the company. Yeah, I wish they would clean that up. I wish they would polish it up. I really wish the times that he did have other folks running the earnings calls, those went much smoother. And obviously, whenever he's on point, they run smooth as well. But with this type scenario, and remember back the last time they really had struggles like they're currently having was back during the Model 3 ramp, was kind of the last time earnings could potentially be, not looking so great. And he was extremely grumpy. He was extremely moody, and they were not good earnings calls. And you know how he gets when he gets agitated and things aren't moving fast enough and he's frustrated, man, he does lash out. And is that what we're going to get on these earnings calls? And whether we like it or not, whether we think it's fair or not, Wall Street absolutely moves the stock based upon things like that coming up in earnings calls. So I can't say although I agree it shouldn't affect the stock price, I'd be foolish and not being honest with you guys if I say it probably is going to affect the stock price if he gets really frustrated and he starts lashing out. So those are kind of the big points that I'm going to be watching this year. But there is a wild card point that, I don't know what else to call it. It's a wild card, so we got to discuss that next. The wild card in all this is what is going to happen with Twitter this year. And guys, before anybody goes down yelling at me, comments or anything else, nobody knows the real answer to this. We don't have a definitive answer because it's not a publicly traded company. We don't know the real answers to this. But if Twitter, or X, or whatever the heck it's called now, I guess X, if X struggles this year, is he going to have to sell Tesla stock in order to continue to run operations in Twitter while he continues to work through everything? Now, I don't care about any of the other political BS. I know it's going to be kind of chaos in that world this year. I don't care about it. And I don't care about all the conspiracies and everything else that goes around all this sort of stuff as to what all is going on. And he may even feed into some of it on X. Who knows? I don't care about any of that sort of stuff. But from a business perspective, the reality is in a very chaotic year, it could very well be that he may have to sell some Tesla stock in order to fund Twitter's operations. Now, I hope not. I hope all the measures he's taken place will allow it to continue to stay afloat, operate on its own, and he doesn't have to sell anymore. But until we have consistent, reliable performance out of Twitter and no fighting with your advertisers, which is how they make money, and a lot of other things like that, until all those things kind of stabilize, it's not out of the realm of possibility that he has to sell some stock in order to fund Twitter. Now, I don't think the possibility is large, but it's definitely something you have to account for and you have to keep in the back of your mind as we move forward, because as we saw when he obviously spent a lot of money or sold a lot of stock in order to buy Twitter in the first place, it was devastating to the stock and it really, really hurt. So once again, just something to watch, and it's kind of a wild card that's out there. So on to the stock price, and I think this right here is where you guys are going to be mad at me. Right here, this is going to be the one. Past couple years, it's honestly been easy to predict what's going to happen with Tesla stock. I'm sorry. 2021, it was so ridiculously overvalued based upon valuation. I knew it was coming down in 2022. That was an easy call to make, despite the fact everybody blasted me for it. But hey, obviously, I didn't see it going all the way down to where it was. I had no idea that was going to happen. I just thought it would trade down or flat for a couple of years and, to basically get the valuation more in line. I had no idea the inflation disaster was coming or anything else like that. So I'm not trying to say that. I'm just trying to say, based upon valuation, I knew 2022 was not going to be this year to where it was going to continue to go to the moon like everybody else was predicting. I knew it was kind of coming down. And then the same exact thing, it got beaten down so low in 2022. It was pretty easy at the beginning of 2023 to kind of see, hey, it's beaten down so low, it may get beaten down lower in the short term, but man, towards the end of the year, 2023, it's got to come up. It's beaten down too far. It's going to have a great run. And that's exactly what it did. And it didn't really have a FOMO crazy run either. It basically just had a very nice run, which is what happens whenever a stock gets beaten down to a certain point. It's going to at least return back to fair value. Stocks get beaten down that low and it's a great company like Tesla is. It's pretty easy to see that it's going to have a nice run the following year. And that's exactly what happened. But 2024 is set up completely different. I think we see Tesla under $200 per share. And as the year kind of moves on, and if they're able to solve those EPS and the margin problems, which I think they will, I think we're going to easily see it also run up over $300 per share as well before Wall Street starts taking their profits and start playing, Wall Street games and doing the typical Wall Street thing. So basically, it's going to be a positive year overall for 2024 for Tesla stock. I agree completely, but it is going to be an absolute roller coaster in between time with Tesla stock this year, with everything that's going on, all the factors that we're seeing this year. It's going to be a complete and total roller coaster. So overall, it's going to be a nice positive year for Tesla. Nothing crazy. We're not doubling up like we were last year. That would put Tesla at $500 per share. And I just don't think we're going to get enough momentum going and enough things going in the right direction for Tesla this year in order to get us there. Now, of course, if I'm wrong, hey, great. I win. I'm a shareholder. I'm a long-term shareholder, long-term buy and hold investor. So I win. But right now, as things lay out, that's kind of where I see it going. But I have this feeling our guest analyst thinks completely different. So here he is, the Tesla bull. This moron still has a channel? Why do you guys still watch Luke? I mean, you do know his mom still wipes his butt after he takes a dump, right? I mean, seriously, I thought I was coming onto that super perma-bear Stephen Mark Ryan channel to give a bullish take to balance out his extreme bear cases that he promotes. Jeez. Whatever. Let me break this down for you plain and simple, since the fools are all gone off of YouTube and it's only a cesspool of bear feces left on this stupid platform. Anyone who says Tesla should not pay $1 million per share today is an ultra bear, and if you don't have it being at $400 billion per share years in, then you're a bear too, because that's where I see it going in 2024, because I'm the Tesla ball. I'm the Tesla ball. I'm the Tesla ball.